Mighty good, boys. Mr. Mike Barnett on the fiddle. Nice hit for Mike. On the guitar, Jake Workman. Thank you, Jake. Back here on the bass, Mr. Mark Fain. Nice hit for Mark. Playing guitar and singing harmony, Dennis Parker. Singing harmony, playing the guitar, been with me 22 years. Paul Brewster. Nice hit for Paul. And on the banjo, I like the way you pick that banjo. He comes from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and I say for Russell Carson, and that's Kentucky Thunder. All right.
Love you, Ricky.
Hey, nice and thick up here tonight. Yeah. All right. I'm going to do a tune here from the father of bluegrass music that kind of started everything bluegrass anyway. He inspired the Stanley Brothers. As a matter of fact, he was the instigator of all this wonderful mess that we're all calling bluegrass music. And I'm so thankful I got to know Mr. Monroe. I met him when I was 6 years old. My dad bought my first mandolin for me when I was 5, and it was a little half-pint size model, just a little teeny one. He stuck it in my bed, and when he came home from work, he was a welder, so he was driving long distances. He'd stay away sometimes 4 or 5 nights, and then he'd come home on the weekends if he had jobs that was out of Kentucky there. And anyway, he stuck that little mandolin in my bed, and I woke up to it, and it was just there, and I just grabbed a hold of it. It felt so right. And so a lot of kids carry around like a little security blanket. You know, I had my mandolin that I carried in my little red wagon. It went with me everywhere. And I'd sure like to know where that little mandolin got to. Someone stole it from a friend of ours. And anyway, probably just threw it in the trash somewhere. I don't know what happened, but I did get a mandolin that was in the trash, and it's my most prized mandolin. I've got it at home. It's Pee Wee Lambert's old 1922 F5. Wow. And I played all those great hits with the Stanley Brothers. I was going to bring him this weekend, and I just, I didn't. So next time I come up, I'll try to bring Pee Wee along. He kind of whines and whimpers when I don't take him on the road. But I just kind of wipe his little face off here and tell him it's going to be all right. Used to, I would drive by an antique store, and he would get real close to me, like. But he's in a hard-working family now, so he don't have to worry about getting sold, or don't have to worry about being left behind in a trash can somewhere. But anyway, this is in my book. I don't know if where JT is set up. He's somewhere out there. He's set up for the t-shirts and the books and all that. But I have a book called Kentucky Traveler, and the book opens with this story about meeting Mr. Monroe for the very first time. See, I couldn't get Google, or my internet wouldn't work in Eastern Kentucky. My iPhone was not happening up there then. We were totally analog. So analog, we didn't even have a phone. We had to holler across the branch or the creek over there to a lady that ran the post office, and she had a phone, and everybody shared it, you know, and so that's how analog we were. But anyway, we found out Mr. Monroe was going to be in Martha, Kentucky, and so Dad and Mom and my brother and sister, my little brother wasn't even born yet, but so it was me and my brother and my sister, Mom and Dad. We took off and headed off for Martha, Kentucky, and watched Mr. Monroe drive up and get out of the car, and oh my goodness, how exciting that was. And there was a bluegrass girl with him. Ooh. And she played the bass fiddle. So when I saw a high heel come out and put its foot on the gravels there, my mom said, "Don't you look at that." So, yeah. And anyway, they just was wearing it out, playing. We listen to it. It's so good. And about 30 minutes into the show, one of the neighbors in the hood, they kind of shouted out, let little Ricky Skaggs get up and do a song. And oh God, I wanted to slide under my chair. I was so embarrassed for him to even know my name. And so he did a few more songs. I thought he's gonna, they won't call. No, they won't do that. That's over with. And after about 2 or 3 more songs, that old rascal shouted out again, whoever it was. So I think Mr. Monroe, in his professional way of handling stuff, he just decided, I'll put a stop to this. I'll get that little whoever up here, and he'll play, and he'll go sit down, and then we'll just finish our show. And so, anyway, Mr. Monroe shouted out, "Where's that little Ricky Skaggs? Get him up here." And oh my God, scared me to death. I mean, that could have been the voice of God as far as I was concerned. That kind of reverence, kind of, you know. And so I come walking up there, and I didn't have my mandolin with me. Heck, I didn't know we were going to play. And got up there, and Mr. Monroe just kind of bent over and picked me up and pulled me up on the stage like a sack of dog food. You know, I mean, didn't strain him at all. I mean, my right arm's longer than my left, but that's okay. It kind of grew that way. But anyway, got up there, and he said, "What do you play there, boy?" And I said, "I play the mandolin." And so he took his big F5 Gibson size master model, not this one, but one just like it, and put it on me and wrapped the boot. He had a boot string, like a leather boot string. I thought, man, that's just so wicked cool. That's just so bad. And man, you know, all these other guys would probably have really nice fancy straps. Oh, sorry. And but he had a boot string. I just, oh man, he was just the coolest. And anyway, tied his own knots in it. It was just like, yeah. And so he, you know, so he asked what I wanted to do, and I only knew 2 songs. And right before I went up to the stage, my mother, godly, precious, prophetic, bony-fingered mother, stuck her finger in my face and said, "Don't you sing that pinball song if you get up there." So half my repertoire was gone. So I was just hoping that they knew the other song that I knew, and that was "Ruby, Are You Mad at Your Man?" I had no idea what Ruby was mad about. I just liked the song. So thank goodness they knew it. And so we, away we went, we did it, and I finished up. But you know, that night I fell in love with Bill Monroe and his generosity and his great musicianship, his band leader style, and just the fact that he took, you know, 5 minutes out of the spotlight, moved off the stage, and let some little hometown, unheard of, kind of known in the community there from church and Butler's grocery stores, beginning to get a little bit of move going on. We hadn't set up our Facebook page or anything like that yet, but anyway, but things were beginning to, you know, just kind of getting known there on the creek. But I just thought, man, he's one to honor and to watch and to listen to. And so I just set my face like flint to follow his music. And then we became great friends later on in his life. And so I love Mr. Monroe. And I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for the music that he had. And we're going to do one of his tunes right now, and then we'll start into the Stanley Brothers stuff. We'll talk a little more about that, all right? Here's Boy Heart.
Darling,
spoke.